Okay, so I got the song wrong last time. My research shows the perfect Iron Man song is actually a hard rock song. So I think I've nailed it this time. Iron Man 2 seemed like it should be a solid entry into this new Marvel Cinematic Universe. The original Iron Man was loved by both critics and fans, and with movies like Spider-Man 2, Blade 2, X2, The Dark Knight, it seemed like comic book movies were immune to the curse of the terrible sequel. In fact, it seemed like comic book movies were almost guaranteed to have sequels that improve upon the original. Add to it, the same team that made the original Iron Man such a great movie with so little script even completed at the time of filming would be returning, so a sequel to Iron Man should be awesome. The fact is, this movie was a failure in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Is it the worst comic book movie ever? Is it the worst sequel ever? No, not even close. But it showed a bad trend for Marvel Studios. Iron Man 1 was great. The Incredible Hulk was good. Iron Man 2, not so good. I am completely taken aback by this movie. It really seemed like it should have been better than the first one. We have Tony's alcoholism brought to the forefront. We have Tony wrestling with the idea of his long-dead father. Did he care about Tony? Hell, did he care about anyone? Or was he just a thief who stole inventions to make his fortune? We have Don Cheadle taking on the role of Rhodey.
Look, it's me. I'm here to deal with it. Let's move on.
Don't get me wrong, Terrence Howard is a great actor, but he was wrong for Rhodey. Rhodey is a character who was treated like a doormat by Tony, and Howard's Rhodey behaved like a doormat, so it didn't feel like Tony was mistreating him much at all. Cheadle's Rhodey does not act like a doormat, so when Tony treats him like shit, you either get the sense that Rhodey is putting up with it because that's how Tony is, or he just flat out refuses to put up with it. We get introduced to the third Avenger, Black Widow, who is pretty badass if I were to give my humble opinion. Nick Fury actually has a significant role for the first time ever, and we get Mickey Rourke as a badass villain. How could this movie fail? The answer is, it can fail in oh so many places. You know you're in trouble when the best action scene in your movie doesn't even involve your title character. Ivan Vanko believes that his father, Anton Vanko, and Howard Stark developed the arc reactor together. His evidence is compelling since he seems capable of building the miniaturized arc reactor that Tony developed in the cave. The best explanation we get is that Howard steals it from Anton because Anton wanted to sell it and Howard thought it'd be too dangerous for the world.
Anton Vanko is the other side of that coin. Anton saw it as a way to get rich. When your father found out, he had him deported. When the Russians found out he couldn't deliver, they shipped his ass off to Siberia, and he spent the next 20 years in a vodka-fueled rage. Not quite the environment you want to raise a kid in.
Even if Howard is right, why doesn't he buy it from Anton? Whatever Anton wants to do with it, it's his right, he co-owns it. Howard Stark has money, so it's not clear how it's cool for him to just steal the arc reactor from Anton. Anton has just as much right to it as Howard. Is stealing it honestly the best solution possible to Howard? What this means is that the bad guy is actually right. He's not right to go around killing people or the other shit he does.
His son Ivan, who is also a physicist, was convicted of selling Soviet-era weapons-grade plutonium to Pakistan and served 15 years in Kopiask prison.
But he is right to be angry at Howard Stark. His rage is justified, and that issue is just ignored here. Ivan's accusations feel so casually shrugged off by Tony in the movie, never mind how valid they may be.
Gus? I'm busy.
What your father did to my family over 40 years, I will do to you in 40 minutes.
Jesus, Ben, I said I'm busy. Busy.
America, there's a growing feeling of hysteria, conditioned to respond to all the threats in the rhetorical speeches of the Soviets.
It's important to state that Mickey Rourke shares none of the blame for how Whiplash turned out in this movie. He does a fantastic job, and despite the demons of his personal life, he has proven time and again to be a great actor. Sadly, the writing of this villain doesn't deserve the performance it gets. The ending battle is just metal suits versus metal suits, just like the first Iron Man, and it really gives off that been there, done that feeling. Vanko honestly gets one decent fight scene in the movie, and it's against Tony on the raceway. But I could literally do a whole video on this one scene and all the issues I have with it. I think the whole thing with the electric whips is cool, and while he definitely can beat up a car with them, he can't break Tony's suit. Hell, we don't even see the suit start malfunctioning in any meaningful way from getting hit. This means that once Tony's suit is on, he cannot be harmed by this guy. How the fuck does that make for a good action scene? Add to that, Happy should have defeated Ivan right here. Anybody want to explain how every bone in his leg is not busted into a million pieces? He has no superpowers that we know of, and we have no evidence that he has any armor on his legs. So seriously, how the fuck can he still fight after this? Now how the fuck did he know these cars would not crash into him?
Fucking what the fucking fuck? Who the fuck? Fuck this fucking... How did you do fucking fucks? Fuck!
Well, it certainly illustrates the diversity of the word.
And the very ending of the battle is confusing.
You're worse. You're worse.
Never go for retard.
Did he watch the same battle I watched? Plus, why did Vanko say this?
If you can make God bleed, then people will cease to believe in him.
Who the hell thinks Tony is a god? Does he think himself a god? Does the public think him a god? I don't know. Why don't I know? Because the movie never bothers to explain it. He's a god for some reason.
Ray, when someone asks you if you're a god, you say yes!
Okay, so I'm going to assume he doesn't mean to be so literal with the god thing, but he lost the battle on the raceway. Hell, once Tony got the suit on, the battle was clearly over. All Vanko did was give Tony a cut. All he literally did was make Tony bleed. So if that's literal, I have to assume all he's saying is meant to be taken literally.
And they will be blood in the water, and the sharks will come.
Sharks with frickin' laser beams attached to their heads!
This is so poorly thought out, I can't even watch this scene and enjoy it because of all this shit. It's so damn stupid. This is an interesting idea. Tony has an illness as a result of the arc reactor wedged into his chest.
Unfortunately, the device that's keeping you alive is also killing you.
He appears to be able to control his illness with alcohol, which is something that really doesn't come into play in this movie.
How many ounces a day of this gobbledygook am I supposed to drink?
We are up to 80 ounces a day to counteract the symptoms, sir.
Check palladium levels.
Blood toxicity, 24%.
It means he has a reason for drinking like a fish in this movie, but in the first movie, we already saw him as an alcoholic. Why bother with his implication that alcohol helps him with his illness? Why not just have his drinking go into overdrive as his coping mechanism for his illness? The illness doesn't fail because it's a bad idea, though. It fails because it's poorly executed. Possibly even worse than the execution is the resolution.
Shot to the heart, and you're too late, darling. You give love a bad name.
Tony synthesizes an element which the movie makes very clear cannot be synthesized.
Unfortunately, it is impossible to synthesize.
So Tony synthesizes it really fast.
Congratulations, sir. You have created a new element.
But this element is just what he needs to cure his illness.
The proposed element should serve as a viable replacement for palladium.
Also, it's his dad that discovers the element.
Dead for almost 20 years. Still taking me to school.
And rather than share this knowledge with anyone in a practical way, he leaves it encoded in a model for Tony to find. Did he get that? Howard Stark discovered the cure to Tony's illness before he ever knew Tony would need that cure. He hid it in a manner so goofy and unpractical, it probably took longer to set up a model to perfectly hold this cure than what would take for him to simply write it down. It's beyond insane.
I was born a poor black child.
Was their goal to make Agent Coulson appear as a worthless goof? Because that's what happens. Coulson gets this awesome scene.
I'm not here for that. I've been authorized by Director Fury to use any means necessary to keep you on premises. If you attempt to leave or play any games, I will tase you and watch Super Nanny while you drool into the carpet. Okay?
I think I got it, yeah.
And almost instantly, Tony is out of the house. No muss, no fuss. He doesn't even seem to care that he completely failed at his job.
I heard you broke the perimeter.
Yeah. That was like 3 years ago. Where you been?
I was doing some stuff.
Then he gets reassigned. Wow, that was an exciting role. This movie is a clusterfuck of great ideas and no good resolutions. It's like they kept coming up with great ideas for the movie, but rather than develop any of these ideas, they went ahead and just jammed a new idea in. This movie has one of the most muddled storylines of any movie I've ever seen. I'll try to summarize this movie as quickly as possible.
Tony Stark is overconfident as Iron Man. The arc reactor in his chest that is saving him is also killing him. He self-medicates with alcohol, which is only slowing his illness. Meanwhile, Tony Stark hires a new secretary who turns out to be a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent assigned to monitor him for possible recruitment for the Avengers. Meanwhile, Ivan Vanko wants revenge against Tony for the theft of the arc reactor. Ivan Vanko believes his father, Anton Vanko, and Howard Stark developed the arc reactor together. Evidence supports this since Ivan is capable of building an arc reactor himself. Ivan attacks Tony and is arrested. A businessman competing with Tony Stark, Justin Hammer, gets Vanko out of prison and hires him to build Iron Man suits. Meanwhile, Tony gets drunk at a party and starts messing shit up, making Rhodey grab a backup suit and stop Tony. Meanwhile, Tony is looking at old footage of his father when he finds an Easter egg that his father left that proves to be a new element. Tony almost instantly synthesizes this element and it proves to be exactly what he needs to cure his illness. Ivan Vanko builds a bunch of robot men and makes himself a robot suit, even though he doesn't want to build suits earlier in the movie.
Drone better.
What? Drone better? Why is drone better? Why is drone better?
People make problem. Trust me, drone better.
Big battles, Ivan Vanko is killed.
And there was much rejoicing.
It's nice how it all seamlessly comes together. For a comparison, let me summarize the original Iron Man.
Tony Stark is a weapons maker who is captured by terrorists. He builds an Iron Man suit to escape. Upon his return, he announces that Stark Industries will no longer make weapons. He also begins refining the Iron Man suit he built in the cave. Tony begins to use the Iron Man suit to get Stark weapons away from terrorists. Meanwhile, unbeknownst to Tony, his old business partner Obadiah Stane is slowly getting Stark Industries out from Tony's control. It is revealed that Stane arranged for Tony to be assassinated when he was captured. Stane makes an Iron Man suit from the cave version that the terrorist had. Stane and Stark get in their suits and fight. Stark wins.
And there was much rejoicing.
A lot less going on, and more importantly, events lead into each other rather than just popping up sporadically and resolving themselves just as sporadically. Really, this movie should be way worse than it actually is. I feel like there were 3 Iron Man 2 scripts here, and 3 guys each carrying one script ran into each other and all the pages got messed up and they put them together as well as they could. And it really is as well constructed as it could be. The direction, the acting, the editing, the soundtrack is all just as good as the first Iron Man. But where the first Iron Man was a solid structure built on a solid foundation, the second is a solid structure built on a shitty foundation. I give this movie a 6 out of 10. It's really pretty bad, but it is well done, and when I do watch this movie, I do enjoy it for what it does well. There are the elements here for about 3 solid movies, and that's the problem. They need to streamline this script and figure out what the story is about. As it is, it just splinters into every conceivable direction without real focus. Still, this is the second worst movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and early on, it appears that Marvel Studios is going in the wrong direction.
Main sequence yellow star, just as you said it would.
A young star. His cells will drink its radiation. It's a seemingly intelligent population.
He'll be an outcast. A freak. They'll kill him.
How? He'll be a god to them.
If you're a fan of my channel and the content I produce, please make sure to visit my Patreon page and become a patron. If you sign up there, not only is there the option to become a producer, if you contribute a little bit more, you'll get your own title card with your name or your handle or whatever you want listed, as well as a website or anything like that within reason that you'd like to promote.